Professor Laird here. It's Monday morning, October 26th, and I just wanted to give a short video here talking about the state of the course after we've gone through over 1/3 of the course now. Just want to talk about a few things and give you a little bit more of a interactive update here as best we can do on this type of course. Now, obviously, I would much rather be there in person in the classroom. Of course, we've also got to consider some other things as well. That if we were in the classroom, I'd probably look like this, having to wear my contacts because the mask would fog up my glasses. Or maybe the more generic look, maybe this. Probably not this. The first thing I want to talk about is what I call the online dilemma. And this is something that we have to deal with, these online courses, that if you're not putting the same amount of time or the same amount of effort or the same level of engagement into this online course as you would in the classroom course there on campus, you're not going to do well on the course. I see this quite a bit. It's quite obvious when students are not fully participating in the course. And so this online learning is going to put a little bit more of a burden on you to put in a little extra effort to watch the videos, read the material, follow instructions, do the assignments as required in order to fully engage in the class. And if you're not doing that, it shows up pretty obviously. Now, I know that everybody's got other things going on and a lot of you have jobs, but we also have to keep in mind that if you were sitting in the classroom there on campus watching the lecture in class, well, you would not be at work. All right, so we have to keep in mind that would be the case. What we want to do is put the same level of priority into the course, being an online course, as we would if we were in class. Otherwise, this online learning is not going to work very well. It could be detrimental to our system of education if we're losing that engagement because of this online distance here. We can make it work, but it's got to be kind of a give and take here of your level of engagement. You got to pick that up. Now, another thing that I want to remind you of is to read the syllabus on a regular basis. It's got lots of information in as far as what's required for the course, particularly giving you the overview of your paper topics and things like that. I know the paper topics have just recently been due. I'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But you might even want to watch that introduction to the course video again, just to get a little bit more, in-depth remembrance of the syllabus. But the bottom line is that you want to read this on a regular basis to keep up with the schedule, know what's coming up right around the corner there, and the basic instructions to at least get you started on everything. And then, of course, I will follow it up as we go with more in-depth. We've already seen some videos already on how to prepare for your paper. You'll be seeing a video here pretty soon on peer-reviewed academic journals. Now, following instructions, of course, is very important. Is part of your college experience, so you might as well just get used to that. And even I've already mentioned that in the video on the paper, that if you don't follow the basic instructions, that's going to prevent you from getting an A right off the bat. So you want to be clear on that. Now, as far as test number 1, several of you did extremely well on the test, but there also were several of you that clearly were not prepared for the test. And that's something that I say nearly every single time that I mention the word test. The very next thing I say right after that is that obviously it's going to be a timed test, but you need to be prepared for the test before you start it, because you will not have time to look up the answers to those questions. So what I would first of all recommend is that you watch the videos. I got several answers to the essay questions on the last test that I really had no idea where they were coming from, as if somebody might have just been talking about what they had heard or knew from past, overhearing other people, or might have Googled Wikipedia and come up with an answer. But that's not what we want. Professors spend a lot of time and effort synthesizing all this material from the books and from other materials that we use to compile these lectures, and we're summarizing the most important stuff that we feel like is best to present you at this level of the game for you to digest in these chunks, that you then assimilate that, demonstrate that you've understood that material, and then move on to the next level. So that's the reason for the lectures. When we talk about stuff in the lectures, that's what we consider the most important stuff, and that's what we want you to learn, and that's what we want you to answer on the test when that question comes up. You also noticed that on the Q&A forum that I set up, I had several topics there that I said these are extremely important topics, so pay particular attention to those topics. So not only just watching the lecture is not going to be enough. You want to take notes, and I would even recommend that you compile those notes into an outline so that you will have all that information right there at your fingertips before you start the test. Know where that information is, know what it means, ask questions on the Q&A forum if you have any questions. And also, you would probably even want to write out some sample answers to some of the potential essay questions so that you would be prepared on those, because several students gave quite elaborate answers on the essay questions. They were able to have time to do that, so that shows that they were prepared when that question came up. So the very important, watch the video lectures, learn the material that we're talking about on the lectures, prepare that material for when the test comes up, because those are the questions I'm going to be asking about, and those are the answers I'm going to be expecting you to give, is what I talk about in the lectures. Now, another thing you might want to do, and I can facilitate this if you're interested, because I don't know if students actually have the ability to communicate with each other in the class if you have access to emails or whatnot. But if you're interested in that, I could set up, pass around some emails if you're interested, and then you could probably communicate with other students and pick their brains as to how they prepared for the test. What were some of the things that they did that enabled them to be ready for the test and to be able to answer those essay questions quite elaborately in the time that was required. So you might want to do that. And then another thing that, of course, you could certainly do, I highly recommend if you've got some issues or if you've got some questions, is to set up a video conference. We have WebEx here at Bergen, and I can set up a WebEx conference, and we can talk about some things as far as, whatever you want to talk about, or how to bring up your grades on the next test. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the paper topic, and we've got the topics have already been submitted for the most part. But if you have not finalized your paper topic, need to get that in as soon as possible. The paper topics need to be confirmed so that I know what you're going to write about, so that I know we're zoomed in on a specific issue that you can analyze, not some big, broad, overarching concept or historical ideology or anything like that. We want to zoom in on a current issue that we can analyze, that's got social costs, things like that we've talked about in class. Because very soon, within the next week, I believe, we'll be talking about peer-reviewed academic journals. I'll be posting a video on that, so we'll be moving on to looking up credible sources for your paper topic. So get those paper topics in as soon as you can. Okay, well, that's really all I wanted to do, is just give you something a little bit more up to date as we go through the class. I'll probably post a couple more of these as we go. Be sure to email me if you have any questions. If you want to set up a video conference, obviously I would enjoy being in the class more. I have fun teaching in the class. It's good to see all the students there. We can interact better, but we have to make this work, and we can do that if you put in the effort to stay engaged, make it a priority, communicate with me as needed. All right, so that's really all I had for now. So I will see you in class.